Hey guys, welcome back to the Subtl YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how I got this look by using mostly concealer, believe it or not. Our Subtl Beauty concealer is so smooth and creamy and easy to blend, and there's so many things that you can use concealer for aside from just concealing your under eyes or your spots. So I'm going to show you guys that today. I'm not wearing any foundation. This was all done with concealer. So I'm super excited to show you, and let's get into it. Today I'm coming at you live from my parents' bedroom in Oregon, and we are headed out to a weekend trip to the beach. I'm really going to do a lighter makeup look, but the main thing that I wanted to show you guys is how you can use concealer in different ways, specifically our Subtl Beauty concealer, because our concealer is super smooth and easy to spread. As you guys know, we don't have a traditional foundation, but when you want to do a lighter makeup look, you can actually use our concealer just to cover up different spots and kind of as a super light replacement for a foundation. So I'm gonna show you guys that, as well as a few other ways that I like to get creative and use our concealer so that you don't have to bring extra makeup products with you if all you want to bring is the stack. So let's get into it. Okay, so like I mentioned, first I want to show you guys how I use my regular concealer as a not foundation replacement, but a lighter look just to cover up some of the redness and some of the spots that I have. So my shade is Arlington. As you can see, it is getting very well loved, and I'm just going to tap really lightly. With a really lightweight concealer like this, I do suggest doing multiple layers and just tapping really lightly to cover up your under eyes. And I'm gonna go in on this side. And before I even move on to the rest of the face, I'm gonna go ahead and set it with the shine control powder and this little triangle puff. And just get under there like this. Okay, so use case one, under eye cover up. Obviously that's classically what we do with concealer, but now let's move on to using the concealer sort of for a light pseudo foundation. So you're just gonna go ahead and get into it. And I'm gonna start right here. If you want to cover up red spots, sometimes it's good to just tap it on and then let it sit there for a little bit. Like if you spread it right away, it will just kind of disappear. So I like to let it kind of sit there. And I've learned when you're covering up spots to tap. Again, same with the under eye, tap instead of blend. I'm gonna do that here for some of the redness. So as you can see, it's not like completely covering anything. So again, this is a lighter makeup look, but it's really nice when you just have a casual day. I'm headed to a weekend trip to the beach right now, so I didn't want to do like a full face of makeup, but I do want to just kind of smooth out my skin and cover up any of this redness. I'm gonna blend in these spots. And if you don't know what your concealer shade is for Subtl Beauty, we actually have a quiz that you can take online to get all of your shades matched. You can put in your current concealer or foundation. And honestly, this is one of the best concealer matches I've ever found. And it was the very first one I ordered because I filled out the quiz. So highly recommend doing that. Honestly, even when I wear my NARS foundation, these dark spots don't get completely covered, but they do get smoothed over a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and do one more layer underneath the eyes. Again, this concealer is super, super creamy. So if you have oilier skin, that's why the shine control powder goes really well with it. I have pretty dry skin, so this concealer is the perfect consistency for me. And it's also just super buildable, so it's not gonna go on too thick. Okay, I feel like this is pretty good for just concealer. I have a little redness up here, cover that. All right, so there you have an example of how to use our concealer to just kind of smooth out the skin, not in place of a foundation, but instead of it for for a lighter makeup look. Next thing I want to show you guys is how you can use concealer in place of contour and or bronzer. So when you're using a darker concealer shade on your face, there's two different use cases for this. So one would be as a actual contour, and then one would just be like in place of bronzer to warm up the face. So if you're trying to do a contour, I actually have two darker concealer shades here. One is Brighten and one is Etna, and these are pretty similar, but Brighten is cooler while Etna is warmer or neutral. So if I was doing a contour underneath a true foundation, I would use Brighten because that's more of a contour, whereas Etna is a little bit warmer, and what I'm going to use today, because I'm just kind of warming up the face, using it in place of a bronzer. Okay, so with a bronzer or a contour, there's multiple ways you could apply it. I'm gonna go ahead and just apply it with my finger, and then I'm gonna blend it out with a damp, squeeze, dried out beauty blender. And again, the color I'm using today is Etna, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my finger just like this. And you're just gonna kind of apply it, not right in the hollow, because again, like that's where you would put your true contour, but maybe just a little bit above that. So like right here. And then I'm gonna do the other side so that it matches. And you really don't have to be perfect with this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like blend it in with my finger first, and then I'm gonna take the beauty blender and blend this out. And I'm gonna be really light with the tapping on this. Oh my gosh, that blends so nicely. I love that. And then on the other side, and again, really light with the tapping. I just kind of go all over the place. You can be a little bit messier with it because again, this is more of a bronzer rather than like a true contour. And that looks super beautiful. It blends into the skin seamlessly. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing bronzer per se, but it just kind of adds some warmth to my face. Honestly, I think that looks really good as is because I'm going for a lighter look. Some people would bring the bronzer up on their forehead. I already have a small forehead, so I don't really need to make it look smaller, but I'm just gonna do a little bit on the nose here, and then I'm gonna blend that out. This just like blends into the skin so nicely. I love it. You can also put a little bit under your lip just to make your lip look bigger. Honestly, I think that looks good. I'm not gonna add anything else because I'm just doing a really light look. Maybe a little bit more here. And again, super light with the tapping and the blending. You can also just blend it out with your fingers, but this just gives a little bit of a smoother look. There you have it. I just use concealer as bronzer or as like a cream bronzer, and it looks super good. And the last use case for concealer is similar to doing a bronzer or a contour. You can also use it as a cream highlight. So this isn't obviously shimmery. I'm still gonna put our powder highlight on top of it. But if you want to kind of contour the nose, the cheekbones a little bit, you can use a concealer that's just a little bit lighter than your natural shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Chartier's. My regular concealer color is Arlington. I'm just gonna go in with my finger, and first I'm gonna put it on the bridge of the nose, but super lightly, just a little bit. And I think I'm just gonna use my finger to blend this one in so I can be more precise. Now, I'm not sure if you can tell the difference on camera, but it just kind of very subtly highlights the bridge of the nose. Another way that you can use concealer is as like a primer. I have a lot of veins in my under eyes, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And just a super light layer. Now, if you wanted to get fancy with it, you could do the highlight like here on the forehead and all over the cheekbones. I don't really like getting crazy with it. That's all I'm gonna use this for. And I'm gonna move on to the rest of the face. Next, I'm gonna use Lip and Cheek in Mauve, my favorite. And I'm just gonna use the two fingers and go up on the cheekbone and just kind of blend this in with the darker concealer that we put on earlier. And I can use the Beauty Blender to kind of marry it all together. Go on this side and blend with the Beauty Blender. Oh, I just like love the natural glow that this is giving. I'm gonna put a little bit on the nose and of course on the lips. This color is my ride or die. I love it so much. And just a little bit more up here. So I am gonna do just like a little bit of powder bronzer on top to kind of finish off the look and just dust my face all around. I'm using Chai for this, just a little bit here. And like I said, if I was using foundation and doing like a whole intense look, I probably would have done some of the contour with the concealer under the chin, but because this is just a lighter makeup look, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm just using the powder bronzer instead. Maybe just a little bit on the nose. And then I'm gonna use bronzer on the eyelids too. We already put the concealer on as a nice base, so honestly, that's all you need. And I'm gonna do just a little bit underneath my eye. All right, super pretty. And then lastly, I'm gonna finish off with the highlighter on the eyes and just a couple spots on the face too. I love how subtle our highlighter is, just like this super nice glow without being too like glittery or obnoxious or shiny. Put a little bit on the nose. And I've been loving using this brush for highlighter too. I just slide this part up to make it a little bit more precise, or honestly, you can kind of pinch it with your fingers like this, just like that. A little bit on the Cupid's bow. And I'm gonna go in with the Shine Control powder one more time just to take away any excess shininess. And of course, if you're on the go, you can also use our tiny little applicator here, but I just like the triangle shape for being a little bit more precise. And last but not least, I really need to fill in my eyebrows. I'm just using this Benefit little liquid brow pencil. I usually use a different one, but I ran out. So this is what we're working with. Good enough, I think. All right, and there you have it. That is the final look. Like I said, I'm going to the beach, so this is just a super simple, mostly cream makeup look. I will link everything I use down below. I hope that you guys will get a little bit experimental with concealer, especially the Subtle Beauty Concealer, because it is meant to be used for so many different things you can get so creative with. Comment below, let me know if there's anything else that you guys like to use this concealer for, and I will have to experiment with it in my next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye guys.